Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Fallen London. We are going to be having a look at December's exceptional story, but before we start, please note, if you want to play this yourself, go and support Failbetter and sign on to the Exceptional Friendship. There's many benefits, and if you play Fallen London, it's definitely worth doing. Another thing I want to mention is the Advent calendar for Fallen London is started in the start of December, so the 1st. And you get something for free every day until Christmas, and it's wonderful. So, without further ado, let's go with poor Una Cabeza. Menace eradicators are sitting on a street corner gnawing greasy bones from some unidentifiable vermin. Probably something they killed to fulfill a contract. After they're done, they toss the bones over their shoulders and begin hunting through the rubbish in a nearby alley, searching for dessert, it would appear. Let's buy them a nice meal at the club. Yes, it's 10 pennies, it's not that bad. Hard-working eradication officers deserve to eat more than scraps. This might have been a mistake. They favour their hunting knives over the blunt cutlery. Their belches continually startle a gentleman reading beside the fire, whose brows crease deeper than you knew brows could. And napkins? What napkins? Just as a footman, however, is preparing to escort the officers outside, the gentleman beside the fire screams. There's a rat chewing a hole through his newspaper, right through the racing column. Not if the Menace eradicators have anything to say about it, there isn't. Haha, wonderful. They helped. I'm assuming it's on the seasons of animals. Well, while we're here, we might as well read this. A commotion in Threadneedle Street. Frantic parishioners spill out of a church, screaming about a monster in the belfry. An alarmed vicar hurries after them. The wings of thunder battling is roosting in the upper vaults of St. Swithin's. It gnaws on the bells. It discommodes the organ. It swoops upon the unexpecting parishioners. The vicar has written to the Department of Menace Eradication, who have replied to say they're afraid that they are busy at the moment, and his best bet is to keep it happy, hope that it doesn't get any bigger, and pray that it gets bored and moves on. The beast can be placated with mementos taken from other animals, which the vicar is desperately searching for. Should we attend a service? The alarming vicar is gamely continuing his duties at the occupied church. It might provide an opportunity to observe the bat in its habitat. A planned visit by the Bishop of St. Fiacres is postponed. While all are certain he could solve the problem, no one wants to be around when it happens. Let's unlock the story. Is that a woman with a slug on her shoulder? Oh, this is going to be interesting, isn't it? Nocturnal noises. What's that racket? You can't put your head down at night without something scuttling under your bed. And your murgatroyd fungal crackers keep disappearing. Not to mention the sherry you had hidden beneath a pillow. Nothing steals your nightcap and gets away with it. So we've got three options. We can either keep a midnight vigil, you're going to catch whatever's scuttling around, even if it means insomnia. We're going to lay out decoy crackers. There might be a little surprise in this box. Or we can search under the bed. What's the worst that could happen if you stick your arm down there? Let's lay out decoys. That's it. Something's caught in the trap. You rush into the other room, but even though the trap's been sprung, its serrated jaws are empty. Wait, right where the crackers were resting upon the trigger, you find a note. It's a very small note with even smaller handwriting. Thanks for the snack. Needless to say, the crackers aren't there anymore. What? Okay, well, let's search under the bed. You definitely felt something. There's mucus on your fingers to prove it, but whatever it was slipped away, as things slathered in mucus tend to do. And what's that tangled around your thumb? Thread? You lift it to a candlelight and realize you're holding a miniature harness and bridle. What is going on in our house? Okay, well, let's keep a midnight vigil. You're going to catch whatever's scuttling around, even if it means insomnia. You wait. You watch. You almost fall asleep. But then you see a shadow fall across the floor. It slides into the corner, diminishing in size until the thing casting it disappears into a hole in the wainscot. Soon, you're on your hands and knees, one eye pressed to the hole. Nothing inside, only darkness and cheese crumbs. Cheese crumbs? Better be Ratus Faber. Oh. There! Right there, you spot a rat scampering under an armchair. How many times must you deal with rats in your lodgings? Your battle with the Ratus Faber chief should have ended this. You shove aside the armchair to discover loose floorboards, and underneath those floorboards... Good heavens! You're looking down into a hole, not upon an infestation, but an operation. Miniature stables built from hat boxes, a racetrack, demarred by matchsticks. LBs shredding lettuce heads and feeding them to slugs, and sitting in their centre, feet crossed on a sherry-stained cork, a Ratus Faber jockey is nibbling your Murgatroids. Ah, the landlord, says the jockey looking up. Good to finally meet you. They're racing slugs. Oh, I love this far too much. Appreciate you lending us the space to train our slugs, says the Ratus Faber jockey. Racing slugs. Thoroughbred. The Mollusca Tour de London is right around the corner, and we've got a spot in the field. Gotta prepare. Lovely crackers these are, by the way. I suppose setting fire to them is an option, no? Okay, well let's talk about the racing slugs. They're wearing little saddles, they're eating lettuce, they're larger than cats. Wow. That's a big slug. Humans think they're such great coaches, but humans can't actually ride racing slugs, can they? Asks the Ratus Faber jockey. I'm more than a jockey, I'm an expert slug trainer. And Rodent's Revenge here? Rodent's Revenge is going to push us rats to victory. Rodent's Revenge is evidently the premier slug in their stable. At the moment, numerous rats are massaging this slug as it slumps atop a cushion from your armchair, with its head dipped into a trough filled with sherry from your pantry. The trough, you notice, is your butter dish. I'm sensing a theme here. Well, let's discuss the Mollusca Tour de London. Slug racing is an elite society sport. Can these rats really participate? Society might stick up their noses at us rats, says the Ratus Faber jockey, but give them a good whiff, that's what I say. Other rats cheer and bellow. I've got the experience, the jockey continues. After the Gasopod Cup and the Palompta Memorial Derby, I'm ready for the Mollusca Tour de London. Biggest slug race in the city, from ladybones to watchmakers and back again. I might even set a new record. 90 days? 80? People are going to learn that a real competitor looks like a rat. Okay, well let's discuss this new living arrangement that they've come to. As far as you can recall, you never gave these rodents permission to stay here. Right, says the Ratus Faber jockey. About that, it's such a nice and cosy spot, you know, and spacious down here under the floors. Our slugs really love it. Gotta keep them well rested and fortified. Rodent's Revenge does enjoy a sherry, and your pantry's excellently stocked and easy to unlock, which doesn't hurt. The jockey pours you a glass and also pours himself a thimble. To new friends? He asks. And a temporary lease? He gave me back my own sherry. As you hold your sherry, which is indeed your sherry, you peer down at the rats through the hole in the floor. You've only seen larger congregations inside a sewer. Well, asks the Ratus Faber jockey, what do you say? Oh, this is what I'm going to let them stay. I have a soft spot for Ratus Faber, I don't know why. They insist that they only need this lodgings until the race starts. Even though I do quite like this. They're vermin! One day is too long. Where did you put that cudgel? But no, we will let them stay. Oh, I love sympathetic about rattly concerns. It's increased to 13. Apparently I've done this a lot. You draft a small rental contract. They pay you a small fee in scraps. They continue to scamper beneath your floorboards, coming and going with assorted trash. You learn, during their tenancy, a great deal about racing slugs, all from a rat-eye's perspective of course. The Ratusfaba jockey sips up late one night, pouring more sherry until he's quite sloshed, and tells you how hard times have been. Rat traps around the racetrack. That's why they're here. No stables would lease to vermin. But we've got a plan to win the Mollusca Tour de London. He hiccups. Wait and see. Okay, well yeah, you can stay here. Wait, we're going to be approached by the press? You're out on a stroll when the tawdry columnist taps your shoulder. Ahem. Pardon the interruption, but word on the street has it that Rodent's Revenge was recently stabled in your lodgings. A prime candidate to win the Mollusca Tour de London. What do you think about rats in the race? He licks his pen, prepared to write. His tongue is black with ink. Express my support. Rats are people too. Some rats, anyway. Why shouldn't they participate? Or we can hedge our words. When it comes to the press, it's usually best to say less. Express your disapproval. Rodents on a racetrack? What's next? Cockroaches on a cricket field? Express my support. I mean, they're not just like brainless rats. These are some of the smartest little mechanics and all sorts. Like in sunless skies, I've had them around, and I'm sure they're in sunless seas, and they've been in fallen London. They've helped me more than they need to, so let's express our support. Fascinating, says the tawdry columnist, jotting everything down in shorthand. You know what I think? They're cheaters. I'm not just saying that because they're rats. Other reporters at the Hopping Post are talking too. There have been rumours down at the track about someone fixing the race. Maybe it's not the rats, maybe it's a different faction, but there's more to this story than the sports column normally prints. Now he is licking his ink-spotted lips. There's a scoop here, he says, practically drooling. I can taste it. Yes, I can picture it now, says the tawdry columnist. A full-page spread, dripping with juicy gossip from the thoroughbred slug racing world. And you know the rats? How about leveraging that connection? Do a little digging. If you bring me a scoop, I'll pay well. We can either agree to investigate for the Hopping Post as a perfect opportunity to hone your muck-raking skills, or we can investigate for our own purposes. Knowledge about a potential scandal is worth more than the press can pay. I don't like press, so let's go with investigate for our own purposes. The tawdry columnist has been most helpful. Although you sidestep his offer, you know which remarks to start dropping at certain salons. Lords with gambling habits whisper hints, ladies playing bridge tut-tut the odds. Really? They say you would bet on that slug? And they smile as they deal more cards. You learn over whilst one evening that a certain notorious gambler is financing this year's race. His name is Donna Villa. She keeps a mansion on Lady Bones Road, where she breeds her own thoroughbred slugs. Not to gossip, says a countess, but if you're after gossip, I'd meet her. Ooh. Well, doesn't this sound awesome? Calling upon Donna Villa. You have managed to secure a calling card. When you move in certain circles and apply the correct pressure, doors open. Now you are standing at Donna Villa's door. Laughter carries from inside. Candles dance in window panes. A dapper devil is just stepping out. He leans beside the door and lights a cigarette. You will have to pass this devil. He smiles and taps ash onto the ground. I recognize you, the devil says. You've been speaking to gossip columnists. He blows smoke rings. Let me caution you against involving yourself in this year's race. I understand the attraction. I love gambling myself. It's hard to resist a good bet, isn't it? Very hard. Nevertheless, you should take my advice. Don't be a busybody. That must sound like a threat, but I promise it's a warning for your own safety. He adjusts his necktie, tips his fedora, and descends the steps to the street. As you step into the foyer, you step into a crowd. Apparently your invitation was not exclusive. Cigar smoke hangs in midair. Ladies and gentlemen laugh and rake chips over bezier tabletops. Bookmakers clamour for bets, and everywhere there is a frenzied debate over which racing slugs have the most expeditious mucus. Well, let's start at the top. We'll visit the balcony. Above her mansion's accommodation, Donna Villa reigns. Reclined in a wide wicker chair from which she can observe the street and garden below, you find Donna Vicker. Her shoulders are draped with an enormous slug. She is chatting with an inveterate gambler who bows awkwardly in your direction. "How timely," she says, adjusting a record on a phonograph beside her chair. "We were just talking about you. And now speak of the devil, here you are." Well, we can operate the phonograph if we have a key. Well, let's speak with her, since she seems to be in charge here. "I know you perfectly. Rodent's Revenge was at your lodgings the other week." London's greatest gambler might be 40 or 50 or 30 years old. Her age is more difficult to apprehend. That the cards she keeps up her sleeves, or whether her dice are loaded, or how much her fortune is actually worth. She strokes the giant slug around her neck. "I've heard you're interested in my affairs," she says. "Now I'm interested in yours." Well, let's discuss the Mollusca Tour de London. This year she's financing the entire race from her own purse. "I know what you actually want to discuss," says Donna Villa with a grin. "Whether I'm a cheater. That's why I let you in my house. Life isn't exciting enough unless there's a risk, and you're a little risk, aren't you? A daring little risk." She taps her slug's head. It opens its mouth. She feeds it a green lettuce leaf. "I'm going to tell you a secret. Winners always cheat. It's how they win. You'll do it too if you don't want to lose. But no matter how many times I tell people, they still want to believe the world is fair. Well, let me tell you another secret. The slug racing world isn't fair." How interesting. Well, let's discuss. There's a lot of things to discuss here that I don't have access to. Discuss the Ratter's Faber jockey. Your involuntary association with this rat continues to precede you. "You should know what a rat on a mission will do," observes Donna Villa. "Break into your lodgings, steal your food, they'll stoop to any crime to get ahead. And this rat is on a mission. I suppose you weren't told what really happened at the Gastropod Cub, the Palumia Memorial Derby. Embarrassing losses. That Ratter's Faber jockey tumbled right onto the track, although it was a bit much, I will say, when spectators threw rotten fruit. So now the rats have sworn. Well, you know their slug's name. It ought to be amusing to see if they succeed." Oh well, let's step away and see if we can talk to some other people. We can speak with the inveterate gambler. "A pleasure to make your acquaintance. Are you a gambler too, my lady?" An impractically tall individual, the inveterate gambler teases as though he might topple from a breeze. His greatcoat bulges. He leans on a cane. He avoids meeting your gaze. "I would shake your hand," he says, "but I have a skin condition. Yes, that's the reason." Alright, let's discuss gambling. He may not be as infamous as Donna Villa, but he's still a fixture on the track. "I gamble my fair share," he says, looking from side to side, his eyes peeking through a massive muffler wrapped around his face. "I don't always win, not like Donna Villa, but I have connections. They tell me things. I place my bets accordingly." He coughs. You could swear the cough came from his coat. "Something you learned," he says, "when you play cards," as he smacks his stomach with his cane, "is not to give yourself away. Same holds true for slug racing. Keep a straight face, don't show your hand, especially not to the constables." So that's a bunch of urchins, isn't it? I mean, come on, the urchins are the ones who stand on each other's shoulders and get really tall. Discuss the Mollusca Tour de London. Although he's not a trainer or breeder, he has his own slug entered in the race. "I purchased my slug from Donna Villa," he tells you. "She's not entering this year, that's why she sold it to me. Fastest slug in her stables, impeccably fine racing stock. It costs a pretty penny, but I've won enough pretty pennies to afford this investment. The Zahir, that's my slug, signed the contract tonight." He wobbles as he extends a recently inked document. "If you're the gambling type, like me, you want to bet on Zahir to win." That's a little, inside information, just for you. Consider it a guaranteed outcome. Alright, well, step away. Turn to the foyer and visit the garden. In order to breed racing slugs, one has to feed racing slugs. Music drifts from a balcony high overhead. You wander down forking paths through rows of knee-high lettuce. It is green. More green than anything you've ever seen since the days in the sunlight. Pure greenness rushes back into your memory like fresh air into suffocating lungs. You didn't realise you'd nearly forgotten a colour. Let's sample the lettuce. Vegetation this green, this vibrant, is almost non-existent in the fifth city. What texture! Softer than a rabbit's ear. What flavour! More exquisite than fine wine. You feel a green vitality flowing into your blood as rivers flow deep jungles on distant shores. Oh, let's listen to the music. You detect pops and scratches as though it was playing on a phonograph. You've never heard a song like this. Its tone, its tune, its rhythm brush new musical boundaries. You strain to catch the scratchy words. Por una cabeza de un noble potrillo que justo en la rayo a florio al lara. Is that Spanish? I swear that's Spanish or something like that. I'm even worse at reading that than I am French. Nah, por una, I'm pretty sure that is Spanish. I'm gonna look this up. I think that's the name of a dance. Una cabeza, yeah. It's Spanish. By a head, it means. You walk with more pep in your step as though the lyrics were pulling you ahead, toward the next fork in the path and the next, onward through the leafy lettuce rows. Okay, well, let's return to the foyer. Let's visit the villa stables. Damp underground stalls, well lubricated with ooze. Gossipers are gaping at a rubbery slug in one stall, and also at the rubbery racer attending that slug. Can you believe it? They murmur, allowing that thing in the race. You aren't quite sure if they're talking about the racer or the slug. Both! They exclaim. Oh god. Well, let's speak with the rubbery racer. Why are those tentacles flapping? Is that a greeting? Normally, he sticks to shroom hopping, whispers a lady at your side. I can't imagine what he's doing here. The rubbery racer splurches at your approach. Only a few speckles strike your face. You wipe them away with a handkerchief, but the racer bashfully provides. And join him at the railing to look down upon the slug in the closest stall. Okay, well, let's discuss the rubbery slug. You assume it's a slug. For your own peace of mind, you must assume it's a slug. Oh no. No. What was that? You didn't catch it. I swear, sometimes I just do this on purpose for people like me who try and read this stuff out loud. Zellalaxacathalax. The rubbery racer splurts again. Thankfully, you still possess the handkerchief. That's the slug's name, says the lady at your side, pinching her nose. It has rather more eyes than a usual slug, and more hands. Although it's about the same size, its biology has managed to corral a veritable smorgasbord of anatomical features that would normally find themselves spread across 20 species. They've simply been crammed into one animal, as an over-eager traveller might stuff too many clothes into a portmanteau. And what an adorable colour around its, neck. Well, that sounds horrendous. Well, let's discuss the Mollusca Tour de London. Flouting at least a dozen special taboos, the rubbery racer is participating. It is a challenge to extract meaning from the rubbery racer's tentacular gesticulations, but you manage, with only occasional reference to Duncan's interpretive dance and Ladislav's the modern celiaphod. The guzzling warble signifies competition, and the puckering contortion admittance. There's something fishy about this, remarks the lady next to you. Donvilla letting this rubbery man keep his slug in her stables before the race. He shouldn't be allowed to race. They're bending the rules every which way. Next thing you know, they'll let rodents compete. She isn't very happy when you pass along the news. Haha, wonderful. Alright, let's return to the foyer. Let's visit the balcony again and speak with Donna Villa. And we're going to discuss the rubbery racer. It appears that a rubbery racer is keeping a creature in the villa stables. They're only staying here until the Mollusca Tour de London officially begins. No other stables were willing to house that poor beast. In fact, I've received numerous complaints about even permitting a rubbery man to enter the competition. But something curious happens when you're a major financial contributor to a sporting event. You get to decide what's acceptable at the event. Besides, all this controversy is just drawing more attention to the race, which means more spectators, which means more betting. As a point. While let's discuss the inveritable gambler. They were conducting business related to the race before you arrived. I wouldn't have sold my favourite slug to just anyone. The Zahir is in excellent hands, and now I can watch my darling little Barbosa in the race without entering myself. Darling little Barbosa? My slugs are like children to me, explains Donna. I only let the best people adopt them. These days, however, I must admit that my interests are drifting more towards the botanical. Not that botany and slug breeding are unrelated. Have you had the chance to see my garden yet? You won't find greener vegetation anywhere. Not in this city, at least. Oh, you got a point. Well, it seems like the way forward here is to consider the competitors. The bookmaker is scrawling chalk numbers across a board. Gamblers are wagering amounts that some might say aren't quite reasonable. Suddenly a hand is on your shoulder and Donna is beside you, assessing the odds. Terrible, she remarks, but the odds are no help when it comes to betting. Take it from me. I've made my fortune at the slug races. Everyone wants to know how. What's your method, Donna? I always say the same thing. I pick whichever slug I think will win. Let's play a little game. Which slug do you think will win? Don't worry about the money, says Donna. I'll pay for you, just this once. I want all my guests to have fun, and what's more fun than gambling? Of course, if you change your mind later, you'll have to pay yourself to place another bet. But never mind the future. Which slug at this moment right now do you favour to win the Mollusca Tour de London? Oh... Okay, so we have the Rodent's Revenge. The Rattus Faber jockey will be personally riding in the race. This organism might have an anatomical advantage. The Zahir, without doubt, the inveterate gambler slug is the best pedigree. I want to go on the Rats. Interesting, says Donna. She hands you a ticket from the bookmaker. The race begins tomorrow. Hangman's Arch. I won't wish you good luck. If there's one thing I've learned, that we make our luck. You can take that philosophy or leave it as you like. But I have a feeling that various competitors in this race will try making their luck. She blows you a kiss. You are back outside under the false stars after the party. Your nose filled with cigar smoke. Your brain is filled with betting odds. You have a race to follow. And this seems like the perfect place to end the first episode. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you think. Your comments are greatly appreciated. And as always, we'll see you next time.